Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 298. 298. I really need to look up the episode numbers before I hit record. 298 for the week of February 21st, 2017. No, this is not.
Or you should just have me introduce the episode number because I seem to remember every single time.
No. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Jim Jokisch.
Hey, Jim. Jim is back.
Yeah.
Back from across the sea. Who else is here on their cell phones?
Hello.
No cell phones.
Always cell phones.
Yes.
Who's here?
Can't let it go.
Live from the Geek Box.
Toby!
Toby's here.
I wasn't on the Geek Box.
You weren't.
Nope.
Who's this?
Charlie.
It's Charlie.
So are we doing a Geekbox takeover episode? We're pretending that we're Geekbox members?
So, for those that listen to Geekbox, are sort of kind of...
They're very confused probably. Go, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah, our sort of parent podcast, I guess, if you want to call it that. Myself, Bryce, and Bryce cannot be here this week, today. And Toby, we took over the Geekbox last night because all our regular guys couldn't be up. So, if you want to hear us talk about the Nintendo Switch, Final Fantasy 15, what Bryce thought of... Lego Batman, because he talked about it on there, and a few other nerdy non-comic topics. Although we mentioned comics once or twice. If Bryce is like an 11 on here, he was like a 4 on the podcast last night.
It was very calm.
He was turned down.
Yeah, if you want to hear a calm...
You know why I left? And you know why the live-in audience left? Because I was falling asleep because Bryce was boring.
If you want to hear a somewhat calm Bryce, listen to the Geekbox from this week.
That's really weird.
It is.
He
really
didn't
weird.
have a lot of input. He did.
Yeah. No, he did. No, he had a lot to say. But
Okay, he didn't have a lot of excited input.
no, his love for the Switch is not as great as his love for
Maybe he was a
Maggot.
Maybe he was scared of the the backlash from the Geekbox listeners.
maybe it's a
The
brand new audience.
conspiracy listeners he can handle.
It's a brand new audience, but let's admit it's a lot of the same audience.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some sales chart stuff here before we get too far into this podcast, but a little bit of housekeeping here on the sales chart. So we talk about this every month, and we've been talking about it for a year now or more. I actually got to talk with the guys that were on Comic-Con, and there's actually a bit of a misunderstanding I had with actually some of these numbers, and I'm a big fan of looking at sales charts, and I never quite...
You had a missing piece of information.
Kinda, yeah. I feel like I didn't read the fine print well enough because I was always a little confused by how some of these numbers came about with the total sales versus the top 300. I was under the impression this was all new comics, and this is apparently not the case. So when you read that, let me get to the overall comic numbers here. All right, so the overall share for January 2017 of comic books sold to North American comic book stores through Diamond Comics, Marvel was 42% of the market, DC was 31% of the market. So when you read that, you think, the comic books that they sold, top 300 books. That's not the case. So the overall unit include sales, reorders, big discount, other things.
Returns?
Yeah, sure, returns can count against it. End of the year returns kind of go into that, but DC will do the 10% adjustment for returnable items. Mm-hmm. So the 42% of books sold of all across old and new in January 2017 went to Marvel, 31% went to DC. So when we actually look at a different number here, the number we really are looking for here is a top 300 comic list, because when we do our top 10 lists, that's what we're going off of. So you see Marvel had 91 comics in the top 300, DC had 85, Image had 29, Dark Horse and IDW split at 22, and then so far and so forth.
I got to ask who straightened you up.
Well, I was going through these numbers, and I was like, it's weird that they're so different at the top, but when you go to the top 300, why would these numbers be different? Wouldn't be the same. And that's when he told me, no, that the overall sales include all items, reorders. Mm-hmm. So Marvel will discount all pallets. A lot of people probably heard about this gigantic omnibus sale that Marvel did a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And all those, tens of thousands of omnibus sold at $20 a pop are all going to pop on the sales charts for the next month for the dollar, right? For the dollar amount.
So it's a net total.
Right,
not the gross total, not the original number before they take off all the deficits.
I believe it's the net total, but it's also, like I said, it's not the top 300 new comics of the month. It includes everything sold by the company through Diamond Comics to North American retailers. So
because when you break down, when you get to like what you're saying now is the breakdown for the 300, the percentages are a lot closer.
Well, right. So if we actually look at the number here for top 300 alone, Marvel is 41.66 and DC is 41.32. So they're basically identical.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to remember that January, Marvel overshipped at a minimum 10% across the entire board of their comics. If you ordered 1 to 10 copies of, and I'm actually credited in the article here because we had this conversation and I confirmed the info with him. If you order 1 to 10 copies, you got 1 extra copy. If you get 11 to 20, you get 2. 21 to 30, you get 3. So if I ordered 1 copy of Moon Girl, I got 2. If I ordered 10 copies of Venom, I got 11. If I order 30 copies of Old Man Logan, I got 33. So it much greatly increases the bottom numbers. So again, stores that ordered 1 or 2 copies got 50% or 100% overship on those titles, meaning they got that many more extra comics for free. So you take away a minimum of 10% of that unit share. DC shipped way more comics. DC sold way more comics than Marvel did in January. Image is at 6.6%. IDW is at 2.7%. So again, remember, this takes place just the top 300. Of course, Marvel has them beat at 45% on the dollar share. DC at 36%. Image at 6%. Because with the dollar share, now that actually counts books that were sold, not freebies. So because of Marvel's higher price point, they actually did sell. They have a larger amount of the dollar share. Yeah. Of the top 300
It was that
comics
Deadpool $9.99 copy.
Was there a $9.99 in January?
I think there was.
I can't remember. But again, all their books are $3.99 to $4.99, and they've had more $4.99 books recently. So if you look at the top 10 books, there's only 3 books over 100,000 copies, which is pretty low for the last couple of years, the last 2 years, or last year and a half. But we are going to have our fun game here. If you guys can tell me what the top 10 comics were for January 2017 to North American retailers.
Batman.
Of course, Batman, number 14, and Batman, number 15, the number 2 book and the number 3 book.
Wow.
At 106,000 copies and 102,000 copies.
I kind of feel like we have to go to like the top 15 or something just because of...
more interesting.
Well, no, it switches up because there's 2 new titles on this list.
Venom?
No, Venom. Where is Venom? Venom must be on here. Venom number 3 is the number 24 book. So that's pretty low. Yeah.
All-Star Batman?
All-Star Batman. Yep, number 6.
How many spots does Batman have?
84,000. That's it. Although he's in 1 more of these other books. Actually, he's in 2 more of these books.
Okay, 5. 5 total Batman books.
Was any of the Justice League's Suicide Squad in January?
Number 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all in January. Number 3 is the only one that made the top 10, which is kind of weird. The 4, 5, and 6 fell.
3 is the one that sold out.
3 is the one that sold out, yeah. Number 3 sold 74,000 copies. Number 7. 4, 5, and 6 were 70,000 copies roughly each at spots 12, 13, and 14. Yeah. They all sold very similar to each other. There's only a couple thousand copies, less than 5%. Difference in copies sold between all 4 books. So
Monsters Unleashed.
Monsters Unleashed, number 1, 74,000 copies. That's the number 8 book. Now, we'll see where number 2 lands, okay?
74,000?
74,000.
What was Batman?
I'm going to have to give it a second
106 and 102? Monsters Unleashed was number 8.
Oh, 8. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're missing...
I'm going to have to give Monsters Unleashed another try.
No,
you're missing 1, 4, 5...
I honestly forgot that. I read it, and I forgot that it came out.
Okay, let's start at the bottom. We'll start at number 10. This is a book that Batman is in.
Detective?
No.
Okay.
Batman.
Justice League?
Justice League, number 12, at 72,000 copies.
The
Now,
crossover with...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 9 book is a perennial in the top 10. I don't know why, especially because the crossover that it's tying in with is very low on this list, which is surprising.
Amazing Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man. Clone Conspiracy is the number 25 book at 54,000 copies. Oof. That's for issue number 4. Whereas Amazing Spider-Man is 73,000 copies. That's baffling to me.
Is that the one with, like, Gwen on the cover?
Gwen on the cover.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the kissing cover?
So there must have been something, I guess, maybe that... I don't
Might have been
know.
a variant thing or something.
I don't know what caused Amazing Spider-Man to get so much higher. But again, it says 10% overship. All these books do, so maybe, but it's still, that's weird. It doesn't explain exactly why. Again, you see the effect here of the free comics, because while it's the number 9 shipping, it's actually the number 11 book by sales, because it doesn't include those are free copies, right? So Star Wars, Justice League 4, and Justice League 6, funny enough, 5's at the bottom of all those, actually outsell it dollar-wise because they have because they didn't have the free copies. No, same price point, but they don't have the free copies.
They don't have the free copies. So what Amazing Spider was like 74,000. So you figure 10% of that was free comics. So it only got what, 68?
Yeah.
60,
Yeah, 67,
68. So whereas
which would drop it out of the top 15.
but then you look at Justice League versus Suicide Squad, and those sold
non-returnable normal sales
70. They had the straight 74.
70 to 75,
Yeah.
between the
This is
between the four.
January, right?
Yeah. So we have
War 8?
no, Civil War is done.
Okay.
So we had Justice League, Spider-Man, Monsters Unleashed, Justice League, Suicide Squad 3, All-Star Batman, number 5. It's an image title. Come on, guys.
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Okay.
Walking Dead 162. That book's 85,000 copies. Man, that book still sells like crazy. I mean, our numbers are...
So where is Inhumans versus X-Men on the list?
2 and 3 are the 17th and 18th spot at 62 and 61,000. So we are missing number 4 and number 1. Number 4, Batman is also in this.
Detective?
Nope.
Oh, I already said Detective twice.
Superman's in it, and Wonder Woman's in it. And,
Trinity?
Nope. And Green Lantern's in it, and
Just
Flash is in
America?
it, and the Black Power Ranger's in it, and the Red Power Ranger's in it.
okay,
and-
The crossover, yeah.
Yeah, Justice League Power Rangers number 1 at 86,000 copies. Now, admittedly, this thing had like 19 covers, so don't look for number 2.
That was number 1.
Yeah, number 1. Don't look for number 2 to be on this list. Now, the number 1 comic of the month, 110,000 copies sold, 57 at a minimum.
He's counting on his fingers.
63 variant covers, and there could possibly be more. 63 variant covers.
I have no
See,
idea.
I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but I want it to be the Batman Teenage Ninja Turtles.
No,
I just
no.
want it to be that.
Now, remember, 63 variant covers over 110,000 copies is very poor.
I know what it is.
What is it?
Star Wars Darth Maul.
It is not Star Wars Darth Maul.
Wow.
Dr. Aphra?
It is not Dr. Aphra. There's no Star Wars in the top 10.
Wow.
Yep.
Savage Dragon.
Nope.
Next question is, where is Savage Dragon on this list?
I have no idea.
It's a very patriotic comic.
Oh, yeah.
US Avengers?
U.S. Avengers. 54 state covers, including Canada, Puerto Rico, the U.K.
Wait, Canada's a state?
To Marvel, it is. Multiple regular variants, like the normal variant covers that these comics do. And then there must have been retailer variants. There must have been retailer variants because everything is. So now here's the question. Number 1 and number 2 both came out in the same month, meaning you had no time. I believe I will have to double check this, but I believe you had no time to adjust your orders for number 2.
That's why.
Well, when number 1 came out,
No, you had to adjust your orders for number 2 when you adjusted your orders for number 1.
Number 1 was not out when you adjusted your orders for number 2. I believe.
Yeah.
I will have to double check, but I believe that is true because I looked it up earlier, and I will reconfirm. What number is U.S. Avengers number 2, and how many did it sell? Now remember, so people ordered number 1, and then they ordered number 2 at the same time. How many copies of number 2 did they order?
37 with 21,000 copies.
37 would be Spider-Man Deadpool number 13 at 46,000 copies.
Okay.
So number 50 would be Saga number 42 at 42,000 copies. So
Saga fell.
Saga's dropped. I've dropped way off. Saga's dropped way off for us. The trades, yeah. You guys are still too high.
Okay.
Really?
187.
Okay, you're too low. But for the record,
I was just trying.
Well, I'm just waiting to find out if my number of issues sold was correct.
for the record, the 187th book is Few number 1 at 10,000 copies. But that's only slightly below Slapstick number 2 at 10,000 copies.
Well, that was overshot.
And Moon Girl and Mosaic.
125.
You can't. Oh, Food Killer's lower though. Food Killer's the 190th book. 125. Now you still can go up a little bit more. Let's get one more guess. Number 125 though is Sam Wilson, number 18 to 21,000.
113.
You're getting closer. That's Totally Awesome Hulk 15 at 23,000 copies. Let's go
103.
No, you're getting closer. Let's go with number 94. U.S. Avengers number 2 at 29,000 copies. So they ordered 110,000 copies over 67, 70 covers.
Well, at least I was right in the 20-something.
You were closer. But so that's like the real numbers that people and it probably going to drop from there. And that was overshipped by 10%, a minimum of 10%. So that number 1 book, that number is meaningless past that first issue. Because I'm telling you, that number 2 isn't getting any higher, right? It's not like that's going to start climbing the sales charts. There was a ton of talk about this stuff. If you read comics, if you're Bleeding Cool or Twitter over the weekend, and I mean, we'll get to some of these things about Marvel sales recently, but for a weekly book like Justice League Suicide Squad, those are pretty damn good numbers. That retailers kind of went in blind to that.
Oh yeah.
Monsters Unleashed, that's great. I don't. What did number 2? I mean, as far as I know, number 2's out. This month, so it's not on the list here. So Amazing Spider-Man, I guess, is the only thing kind of holding Marvel up right now because DC had 20 of the top 30 comics of the month, which is great.
Where's Unworthy Thor?
You know what's funny? I think Unworthy Thor is kind of starting to fall. It's number 28 book, 52,000 copies, sandwiched between Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman, both issues of those. Just shy of Clone Conspiracy, a couple thousand short of Clone Conspiracy. The crazy thing is Venom is on here at the 24. This book, 55,000 copies. Like, we barely sell any Venom. People just
number
don't.
1?
No, this is number 3.
Number 3?
Yeah, I don't understand at all how this book is still so high. But maybe it's not because of this, the weird Marvel shenanigans. So, February.
I want to love Marvel. I really do.
Well, here's the thing. The February sales charts, the first time we're going to have a normal sales chart for Marvel in a long time. No events, no crazy variant stuff. I mean, no more than normal, right?
Yep.
No boosted numbers by whatever percent or free copies or anything. February is going to be a normal month for Marvel on the charts.
And your
it's
sales
going to be a
flat as
fucking
hell.
bloodbath. It is going to be awful.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Thor. I read Thor, Unworthy Thor.
Yeah, Thor's great. Both of them are great.
Old Man Logan. But, I mean, I can't fill up a hand with the number of issues for Marvel that I'm reading these days. I want to love Marvel. I do. Most of my key issues are Marvel.
Yeah.
My handful of DC key issues are Silver Age and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, we got in the Marvel Select. We got in like a huge restock of Marvel Select figures, and I'm like, hey, remember Real Marvel? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We were going through.
Other people are going to go, who are these characters?
We were going through awful '90s Marvel comics, and I'm like, man, I am like these look like Silver Age gems to me compared to what's coming out right now, and it is just baffling. Now, let me get to one of the big stories. ComicsPro had their big retailer meeting. It's a retailer organization I belong to. And I wish I could go.
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
They always have their meetings on the East Coast, and I never. They actually had it here, but I spazzed. I need to start going.
I'll go with you.
So I'm never going to go. Never ever going to go.
I'll represent for you.
Okay, Brock, I'm going to quit the organization tomorrow. So sorry. So they had their big meeting, and being part of the retailer forum, I actually got all the notes and stuff as these things were going on. Now, most of this did come out, not from me. I had nothing to do with this, but a lot of retailers did report to Bleeding Cool and other websites. And one of the things that got reported that picked up a lot of traction was that David Gabriel, the guy that runs, he's Marvel's like VP retailer liaison, came out and said that in not quite so many words, that the fourth quarter sales of Marvel were low and not great and bad because retailers had so much money sunk in to to comics that were returnable to DC, and the DC's $2.99 price point was causing retailers to lose so much money that they couldn't afford to buy Marvel Comics stock on their shelves, and that's why they were doing this whole like 10% overship and everything. So basically, comic retailers are not ordering Marvel because we had too much money tied up in books that we were waiting to return to DC, and because we made so little money off DC because of the $2.99 price point that we couldn't afford to buy more Marvel Comics for the shelf.
That's ballsy. Never mind that their storylines and their characters right now are shit.
I could understand the point of, because it's fully returnable, people tie up more money stocking their shelf with but the $2.99, that's basically saying we were counting on DC to stimulate the market enough that people would buy more Marvel.
The amount of bullshit that this is
okay. Well, hold on. First look at the fourth quarter for Marvel. You had
the tail end of Civil War.
You had the tail end of Civil War, which was riddled with delays, riddled with being late. Books were coming out 4 issues in, and Civil War wasn't even done yet.
Right, the Civil War numbers.
It was Civil War 2.
They were good, but they were a far cry from where the series started.
But I think a lot of that affected going into Hulk, going into all of these titles that spun out of it.
It's really hard for me to say that. It's real easy to point a finger at Marvel, but they've done this time and time again, and it hasn't affected the numbers as badly as they are now. I kind of agree with Jim Moore that it's the quality of the books. It's not because Civil War got delayed, because that's happened to every single Marvel event where books were coming out before the end of the event.
But that does affect it when it comes to the retailer aspect of it's delayed. People aren't going to come in for it, so they don't.
Exactly. It's not DC's fault. Marvel's freaking
it's not
delayed.
DC's fault.
So let me break this down a little bit. So when Civil War is late, that was their big book. Regardless of it's selling much lower, it still was a big book for Marvel, right? I mean, it was a fourth of what it sold when number 1 came out for us, but it was still a book that drove people to the store. The fact that it was so late, Brock is correct, it caused people to not come in. So they only wanted Civil War. They weren't coming in once a month. They would come in every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, and they weren't buying anything extra. The delays caused people to not care about the book anymore. Any books that launched out of it were DOA. But Marvel's has a bigger problem here, because if you look at what DC did. Now, the $2.99 thing, it's pure bullshit. We make money if we sell a book or not. I wouldn't sell as many comics of Batman if it was $3.99 or $4.99. That's just the truth. I may make a little bit more money, but I like selling more comics to people. Now there is a point where the comics can't go too cheap. If every comic was a quarter, I'd be out of business in a week, right? I mean, I couldn't sell enough comics to make that work.
Right.
But the returnability thing, I really want to stress on, because there's been a lot of articles about this out there, about the returnability of comics hurting retailers. Now, I'm not going to lie. It felt really nice to get that giant credit from Diamond when I returned
the first wave.
The first wave, I had almost nothing. The second and third wave. Now, what they did was, in June, July, and August, all the books that launched, so Batman, Superman, Action, Wonder Woman, Justice League, the big titles, right? Those books were all fully returnable for those 3 months, June, July, and August, right? September and on, those books were not returnable. Those are all the major launches. So October, November, December, all those books that were like the ones that you might go crazy on, they were no longer returnable. So there was no returns that retailers were holding on to that they hadn't got their money back. Now, it took DC a couple weeks to get you your money back and everything. And so, if you went so far in that you spent your entire, store's money on these books and you tank yourself, that's your own fault. Yep. It's returnable. It's not free, right? You're still on
you're invested.
Yeah.
You're invested.
So we went over, and there's a number of books that we went way over. I was happy to return like 40 copies of Cyborg #2, right? I mean that book tanked, right?
You wish you wouldn't have, but
we still have some Cyborgs to return.
Yeah, I still have some Cyborgs to return. But right, so those major titles, there was no money being held back because of returnability. And it's a complete lie. I mean, was there a little bit? Sure, because of the second wave, they had one issue. The third wave, It's kind of, they launched over the number of months. But it's a complete fabrication that retailers had money tied up waiting for this return to then spend on DC or to spend on Marvel. I understand that there are stores out there with budgets. I don't understand how that works because for me, every month is completely different. If someone orders a $400 statue, that can't go against a budget because it's like a pre-order that's paid for, right? Wow. The way I order and the way I assume most stores order is you order what you think you're going to sell. If I think I'm going to sell $5,000 worth of comics, I order $5,000 worth of comics. Maybe people have you must run by the number, and I don't. Maybe some people order like that, but I don't see how. You have to be flexible. You have to adjust constantly,
right?
Because if I think I'm only going to sell 3,000, I'm not going to order $5,000 worth of these comics because I'm not going to sell them, right? I mean, those numbers are meaningless. I'm just using fake numbers here when I'm explaining what we order.
It's ridiculous for DC. For Marvel to blame DC for their poor books that are on the shelf. They're not selling because, I don't want to say, but they're not.
They suck.
I'm sorry. There's.
So they're Rick Shea, Famous Funnies Comics in Florida. He had a great article on Bleeding Cool today, kind of responding to a lot of the stuff. And Brock made the joke. He was like, "What, did you write this?" Because it sounds exactly.
No. I went outside for a second, and this came on my Twitter feed that there was this article in response to the one about the crappy math.
Oh, Dennis Berger.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was reading this article. It's a long article, but it was so informative of what was going on, like how everything's broken down, like how and his store is a larger store, all this stuff.
Yeah, he is a huge store.
But the thing is as I'm reading it, I'm going, is this Ryan? In Florida, it's and that's the thing is I think that.
Well, look what did Marvel? They didn't officially announce any of this, but Marvel today canceled
Ghost Rider,
Hellcat,
what?
Silk? Was Silk on that list?
No, I don't think Silk was on that list.
God, I don't
Great
have
Lake Avengers.
Great Lakes Avengers was on there. They canceled like 7 or 8 books.
Yeah.
In this new previews,
but it was no shock. Gamora, right?
Oh, Gamora! They canceled Gamora.
It was no shocking title.
There was no. They canceled Power Man and Iron Fist, but they're replacing that with Power Man and Iron Fist. Right? They're replacing it with 2 separate titles.
Got it.
Yeah, because separating them is going to make us more money.
It
maybe better creative
could, but
maybe
we don't know. We don't know.
Jesus.
Sorry,
but yeah, they canceled like 7 books. So. There is potential. But how did Toby go? Toby just vanished like 20 minutes ago, and he never came back. There are potential for these things to turn around, and there are still some Marvel books to do very well. It's just the numbers are dropping at such incredible rates for us and for other stores that I've talked to. That I don't.
You were saying that the numbers that Rick was saying on his article were virtually the same numbers that you have.
His store, the store is literally 10. I'm not, no exaggeration. His square footage is 10 times our square footage here. He probably has 10 times as many customers. His Marvel books were the same numbers as mine. It's like, the 2 people that buy Great Lakes Avengers, right? Mm-hmm. Every store has 2, right? And that's why it sells 10,000 copies, right? That's it. And it's crazy. So the fact that I can sell close to 200 copies of Batman a month, and that makes me less money somehow. Like, it's mind-boggling. It's fucking mind-boggling that Marvel can come out and think that... And again, placing the blame on the retailers, placing the blame on the fans. They're not buying your comics. Oh, they should be. No, they're going to buy what they want.
Mm-hmm. They're going to buy what they like.
Yeah. And so, again, we have the opportunity. I did some math, and I actually posted something wrong online. So I went back and when we did the orders for X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, Weapon X, and all this stuff, to hit the high-tier discounts, to hit all the bonus variant covers and stuff, it's way more than I have faith that I'll sell. Way more. So, again, Marvel had an opportunity to come in and say, like, look, we're going to have Blue, Gold, we're going to have Weapon X, we're going to have all these new titles while we're kind of waiting for September to hopefully come and reboot everything. Have it easy, have it cheap, just get people in the store. Nope, they make it impossible. So I'm going to order a little bit over of number 1, cut my orders to number 2, exactly what I'm selling of X-Men now, because I don't think people are going to come in for these books.
Yeah.
There's no faith. Whereas I have the Wildstorm, the book that just launched. I had like 10 subscribers before the book came in. Batwoman, I moved people over from Detective. I had like 35 subscribers day 1 on Batwoman. Justice League America, like 40 subscribers because of Justice League. They launched Ghost Rider. I don't have a single subscriber. Venom, I have 1.
Yep.
Like, these are my customers. Me and Brock are doing FOC, the order cutoff, on Monday, and I'm going through the list of Marvel, and something like 80% of the books in that list, I did not sell a single copy off the shelf last week.
The businesses cannot operate like that.
No, it's crazy.
I know.
I would sell like 2 or 3 copies of books to my regular subscribers, and that I pull them for, and not a single shelf copy. The people that want to buy Marvel comics are just not walking in stores. They're not walking into the store.
Because they're not enjoying what's out there right now. What is out there is not. I mean, sorry, it's not your. I know we're going to jump into generations later on, but it's not your classics.
Well, let's talk about generations here.
It's not your classics.
So one of the things...
It's a whole bunch of characters they have no time invested in. They have no idea of the history. The freaking timeline is so convoluted, you can't tell where you are in the freaking Marvel Universe. You don't even know if you're on 616 or 666, which it feels like.
Well, let's go to...
So...
I think Jim's angry.
Well, because Alex Ross...
I'm angry because Marvel sucks right now, and I want to like it.
And you're like the biggest... You and Bryce would like fight for Marvel fanboy around here. Yeah. So, Charlie, Alex Ross, Generations. You saw this cover. Did you see this?
I love that cover.
I don't think I saw it.
Okay, well, why don't you come over here?
Oh, man. It's nice.
So Marvel released this single image of a book of something called Generations coming at some point. Now, they are like double and triple shipping Secret Empire. So there's 3 issues of Secret Empire coming out in May, which is just crazy. Yeah, just crazy.
I think somebody really, really wants you to buy a round of beers for people.
So yeah, let's see if they can actually make that many issues come out that fast.
Is Alex Ross doing the interiors or just the covers?
Probably just the cover.
Probably just the cover.
That's too bad.
So there's a thing called Generations. It shows Jean Grey and Kid Jean Grey, Wolverine and X-23, but they're in like their regular costumes.
That's a nice cover right there. I like that.
Yeah, Captain Marvel,
original Hulk,
Marvel,
Amadeus Hulk.
Yeah. Spider-Man and
Thor, female Thor.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we don't know what this is, and again,
Fantastic Four though.
No Fantastic Four. Now, look at what DC has done with
Fantastic Four and Power Pack,
right? In most cases,
Power Pack back at this point.
In most cases with DC, you have the main character and then their secondary or other characters, right? You have Batman in All-Star Batman, and then you have Duke, right? You have the kid. You have the new Robin. It's not Robin, whatever
he's the backup story in All-Star.
Right. You have the second main character in the Flash comic is Kid Flash, right?
Yep.
You have Superman is obviously the main character in Superman, but Jonathan and Lois are like in every issue, right? They're the main part of that.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kent. Yeah.
Yeah. You have
occasionally, like with the Super Sons intro 2-parter, they became a little bit more heavy in in what they were being presented with, and Superman took a back burner on that issue.
Detective Batman is in every issue, but it's not about Batman; it's about all the other characters. But you have that hook, right? You have the hook there to then have these characters, and if you launch a Kid Flash comic, nothing against the character, nothing against his fans, whether it's Wally. Whether it's the new Wally, a Kid Flash comic is going to have a hard time selling right?
Yeah, out the gate, yeah.
Connor Hawke gets introduced in Green Arrow back in the 90s. They don't change the name of the book to Connor Hawke. They keep it Green Arrow.
Yep.
You keep people reading that title, right? Now, you can
look how long it took for Nightwing to get his own series.
Oh, yeah. And again, there's a character that took literally 60 years to get his own book.
How many versions of Green Lantern have we had? And have we ever changed the version of Green? Have we never changed the title Green Lantern?
I mean, there's Green Lanterns now, but
minorly, from time to time.
So for me, look.
Yes, I still remember Mosaic.
I don't see 2814.4, 2814.5.
Well, I mean, they did the Guy Gardner book that was running even when...
But that was a separate book.
Well,
Warrior, stuff like that.
And like Mosaic and like a
None
lot
of those
different...
ever. But what kept going? Green Lantern, right?
I'm really surprised in the Generations you didn't mention Nova and Kid Nova.
Well,
Nova has
a
had a hard time with his own series, but Nova did really good as a supporting character in your New Warriors.
Well, here
and your Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff.
Now, if let's just assume Generations, because I don't know what it is. Let's assume for the time being that this is actually going to be their thing going forward. This is going to be their big September relaunch. It's clearly post. I mean, I don't know. They haven't said anything about this, right?
Right.
This is how you do this. You have Thor featuring Thor, but Jane Foster Thor is a supporting character in it. You have Spider-Man featuring Peter Parker, but Miles Morales is a supporting character in it. Now, I have no problem with Miles Morales having his own title, right? And I think they actually should keep that one. But I'm just saying this is a good way to do this. If you have Incredible Hulk, Amadeus chose a supporting character in this book. You have who else is on this list?
The thing is, you have to give these characters time to mature. A perfect example is
Wolverine, of all people. You have a main regular Wolverine comic, and X-23 is a supporting character in this book.
But like a good example of kind of the rush job was the Kate Hawkeye.
Oh, there's no reason for that book to exist.
There's no reason for that book to exist.
They had 3 Hawkeye series since the Matt Fraction series has ended, and they're all like it ran like 5 issues, and this Hawkeye series will be over by like 6 or 7. Like
the Jeff Lemire ones were really good.
But it got scrapped after like 5 issues.
But it got scrapped. But it was nice to see Kate in there with Hawkeye. Like like the book worked with them two at the same time. But it was Burton's book.
Well, that's why it worked she was basically the main character of the Hawkeye series under Fraction. It was her. I mean, they were kind of co-headlining the book, but it was a Hawkeye book. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole list. I posted a big list on Twitter because someone had asked me, what would I do to kind of straighten the Marvel universe? And I put a huge list of books.
Sorry, I had to add Ant-Man.
Oh, that's fine.
You need that humor title. You need that title that's...
No, but okay. But
you didn't like Ant-Man?
I did, but he doesn't need his own comic.
He doesn't need his own title, but he can fall into a generic title. Marvel Comics Presents.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I won't go over the whole list. You can go scroll back a week or so on my Twitter if you want to see it.
This is the list we talked about the other day?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But, right, Jim, what you were saying, the 2 things that I put on there that I think are very important, and DC's doing one of them. I wish they would do the other as well. One, DC has a whole bunch of series and miniseries that are going on at the same time. There's basically 2 a week, roughly, that are like random tie-in stuff like Power Rangers and Justice League, things like Kamandi, Supergirl being Super, the Prestige format stuff.
There's Deadman,
the Deadman Prestige format.
Hawkman, Ravens just finished up.
Right. So all of this stuff, you keep churning that, you keep rotating, you test new creative teams, you test new characters, you do all this stuff constantly, and just to see what sticks. And because maybe something will do really good, and you can bump that up. Maybe on a case-by-case basis. Worst case, it just keeps these characters out there, and
Well, look at the Suicide Squad Most Wanted book. It takes one character from the Suicide Squad and tells a story in the 6 issues. And then it has a backup story with 2 characers basically in each issue.
Yeah, I felt that was pretty unnecessary because you have the main squad book. Yeah. But it worked.
But it worked because it was, we're giving you these individual characters. It's not another Suicide Squad book.
Right.
It's El Diablo. It's Captain Boomerang. It's Deadshot. It's whoever they feature.
If you go back 2 or 3 years on this podcast, you probably remember me saying like, oh man, I'm so happy. They're scrapping all these miniseries. Everything's an ongoing. And if it, because people will support ongoings. That was the case. That is no longer the case. The people are actually interested in miniseries knowing that they're limited. It's like this weird switch happened. People abandoned miniseries left and right a handful of years ago.
Well, it's because there was so many.
Well, there were so many of them.
That was the problem. Is a few years ago there was so many miniseries, so much stuff.
Yeah, keep it small, keep it focused.
The thing is what we if you look at Marvel is all these miniseries, and then all those things that were featured in the miniseries, these random characters, all that stuff, that became the line now.
Well, the thing with the miniseries was they were just Deadpool miniseries and Punisher miniseries. They were miniseries of stuff that already existed. Miniseries for Marvel and DC is where your Gwenpool, your
you establish Bishop, you establish Rogue,
your Star-Lord.
Yeah.
You can do these little miniseries here and there to focus on some characters. You don't need... at this point, basically every Marvel comic is a miniseries. Now, the other thing that Jim was saying that I wish DC would do this, and Marvel definitely should, is Marvel Comics Presents or something like that, where it's a regular size comic, 2 10-page stories, maybe 3 6-page stories if you want.
Well, DC tried to do it with Legends.
That was a little different. Legends was they took 4 existing miniseries that they weren't going to publish and threw them into a book together and dumped it.
Marvel Comics Presents, Marvel Fanfare, Marvel Superheroes. All these were tester. These were tester books.
Right.
Marvel Age.
Marvel Age was
like a news.
And then there was a story. Sometimes.
There's still some first appearances there, but my point is, these books were already established. These books are the ones that were tester books. You put them out there; they're feelers to see if they like the character. Your Squirrel Girl shows up in Marvel Superheroes. Yep. You know, Venom shows up. Has shown up in Wolverine and Marvel Comics Presents. You get the Wolverine origin, Weapon X origin, stuff like that. You know,
Weapon X,
like you said, but those were miniseries contained within that title. Yeah. You're not scrambling around to try and, and again, maybe they want you to buy the umpteen titles, but the problem is nobody's buying the frickin' other titles. They belong into a digest. They belong into a collection.
I'm not someone, because I understand how the comic industry works. I'm not stupid. They're never going to publish like 30 comics. People want them to publish like one Batman book. It's just not going to instantly sell 100,000 or 50 or 500,000 copies because there's only one book. That's not how it works.
Right.
However, I believe in January, what did I say? Marvel published 93 comics. Mm-hmm. You don't need 93 comics. No. I cut that list down to 65. That included 8 miniseries, so 2 a week. That included multiple 2 issues a month, so double shipping on
some titles.
Amazing Spider-Man, Uncanny X-Men, Thor, Avengers,
double
Captain America.
On your icons, and you'd single ship on the testers.
Well, you single ship on most books, but you have a handful that you double ship on, so 2 issues a month. And you keep those books core, you keep them classic.
Because Flash is reducing down to once a month and...
No. There's only one Flash. There's only one Flash and Batman in this month's previews coming up because the Button crossover is split between the 2 months. There's 2 issues and 2 issues, but it was solicited 3 issues, 1 issue.
1 issue. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2 issues with umpteen covers too.
There's only 3 covers each.
I thought it was more than that. I thought we talked about this.
The Button?
Lenticular, regular, international.
That's it.
And other variants.
No, that's it.
Oh, I thought you said there was more variants.
No, just
there'll probably be some store variants, but.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, they haven't said anything about store variants. And at this point, they would get the ball rolling.
I'm looking forward to the Button. I want to see what's going on with the Watchmen and what's going on with
everybody is. I mean, like, the numbers are skyrocketing.
And they still haven't done anything with the 3 Jokers.
So, back to it. You, like, miniseries now is the testing market.
Sort of.
But, I mean, you
want... a lot of it just has to do with... getting the copyright to the character, putting the character out there, seeing if they can move him into something. It is kind of a test. It is sort of a copyright keeper. That happens a lot where they're just like, we just need to publish a book called Defenders because we have to, right? And again, I have on that list of books, I had Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel and Squirrel Girl, and some of these books that I feel actually deserve to continue to keep being published because they do. And these are characters that have a unique voice, that have obviously very loyal fans. Not huge amounts of them, but they are there. Well, but you don't need 10 books like Squirrel Girl. That's the problem.
It rounds out what you're publishing. Like it gives you you have your big titles, but it also gives you those other like fringe titles that, like you said, the fan base isn't huge, but you're still putting it out there.
Assuming that they take their time, get enough issues in the can, it also gives creative teams who can't keep up with a monthly book the ability to put out a story
and do something special. Yeah.
Marvel needs to scale down and stop doing quantity and start doing quality.
Well, this has always been their case. I mean, if you remember. Man,
not always. They've had quality in the past.
I talked about
everything goes in cycles, though.
There was a
long
picture.
cycle. This is a long downtrend.
There was a picture I had on Bleeding Cool a couple of years back where I had Marvel books, the entire wall to the floor, pushed over. Like I couldn't. There was something like 80 titles in 1 week from Marvel, let alone 1 month. It was ridiculous. So there have been times where Marvel is just like absolutely insane. They are far from their peak right now, but they could pull back a little bit further because at this point they're shipping maybe 20 titles too many. There's a lot of little side garbage that's not even breaking the top 150 titles, and a lot of that stuff can go. There's a lot of drag.
They need to reset, stop blaming DC for their own troubles, and take a breath and freaking figure it out, man. And just
it's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Also, they need to completely just ditch their variant fucking model.
Yeah,
they need to just change up how they do it.
No, they just need to stop for a while, just like the freaking 90s. Well, everything was variant, and then they stopped.
So right
and
now,
then they stopped for a while, and then when it came back around, everybody was on board for a little while. But they've jumped the shark. It's done.
Well, the thing is Image is having their 25th anniversary this year. And so
every month they're
doing variants
for select titles.
But Image for the longest time was like, oh, variants destroy the industry. We don't like them. We don't do them.
Yeah.
But the thing is they decided to do them this year. I mean, it's an anniversary year. Okay, cool. They're homage covers to old Image titles,
right?
But you don't have to hit numbers to get these variants. You can order as many as you want.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with DC right now with their 2 variant system. You can order as many as you want. Like that's it. Like that system works.
It works really well.
And the thing is like your bigger titles, like Batman could go to a 10, 25, but DC doesn't do it.
Well, imagine. So they launched as X-Men Blue and Gold. We remember the X-Men launch, the Chris Claremont launch, right? Mm-hmm. The Jim Lee and Chris Claremont had the 5 connecting covers, right?
Yeah. And then the gatefold. And then the gatefold. Four connecting, and then they had the one gatefold.
Yeah. Imagine you're launching an X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold book. Imagine if they did this. Imagine if they said we're going to have our regular cover, and we're going to have a connecting cover to go along with it. I mean, it is 4 covers. So when you get X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold, you get all 4 covers. Your regular cover, your B cover, your A cover, your B cover. They form a giant image, just like that X-Men #1, right?
Yep.
You don't have to, you can't get Jim Lee, obviously, but you get the best Jim Lee clone you have. You do this cover, 2 covers, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, and then you sell a special gatefold combo issue for like $6 that collects both of them with the whole full gatefold cover that collects #1 and #1 of both, comes out at the end of the month. Boom! I'd sell a crap load of those. You're teasing, okay, we have some more Scotty Young variants, more hip-hops. Those are so played out, nobody cares anymore. You have like a bunch of order 300% of IVX to get these covers. Fuck off. Like there's no way. I can't sell 100 copies of this book. Maybe I could have at one point, but today I don't trust that I have 100 people that are going to walk in the door and drop $5 an issue on this comic.
Well, look at remember when
if it was $2.99, 2 covers, open order, suddenly I'm like, oh, plus a little extra discount. Oh man, I have this play here. I can do this. That doesn't work when the books are that expensive.
Because you can turn around and you can pre-sell the sets.
Exactly. Because I know exactly how many.
How you can get it.
Yep.
The other thing is DC did this with Justice League of America for Brian Hitch's run, where they did an individual cover for each character.
Yep.
And it was open order.
It didn't sell great, but
it didn't sell great. But the idea was there, and so you ordered. Going, maybe I'll try this out.
I sold a handful of all of them, right? Yeah, no, I absolutely sold. I sold way more of #1 than I did of 2 and on, right? Because they had so many cool covers. There's great ways they can do things like this. You just have to be smart about it.
Yep.
I don't need a Joe Jusko box cover, enlarged box variant. Like, come on, guys. I mean, Joe Jusko's perfectly fine artist. Get him to do something else. These variants, nobody cares.
How about those sketch variants that they put out, like with Civil War?
Those weird black and white. Oh, those are awful. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're thinking.
Well, okay, look at your Wildstorm. Wildstorm #1 had 3 variants, or three covers, right? They had A, B, and C. So they had the
base cover variant and then the Jim Lee cover.
One.
Now, that a Jim Lee cover originally, I don't know if you remember this, the Jim Lee cover was supposed to be like a 1 in 100 variant. And they clearly went, okay, this isn't going to work. We're going to scrap this. So they had, or maybe it was 1 in 50. So they ended up doing the 2 covers, and they just said, no, Jim Lee covers open order. Yeah, guess what? I went from ordering 0 to ordering 25 copies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it's a fucking Jim Lee cover.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure. And I didn't sell all of them, but I'm like, darn, I have a couple. I have a dozen extra Jim Lee variants. shit. I can't sell those ever. Oh wait, except they'll just sit on my shelf and I'll sell them in 6 months.
You still sell
right?
Superman Unbound or Unchained, something like that.
I have.
You could put them all in bags and boards right now. Tape them up, put a $5 price tag on them, and you would sell them consistently for the next year.
Yeah,
I don't even have to do that. I'll sell them for cover price.
Yeah,
but. Let's move on from this. There was other stuff at ComicsPro. Actually, waiting for Toby had to run off and do something, so I'm actually waiting for him to come back. There was something I really wanted to talk, and I wanted him to be here for. But we do have a few other things to cover. Maybe we'll do a couple questions while we're waiting for him to come back. He had to run to work real quick. He's coming back. Karen Berger. Longtime editor of Vertigo.
You're talking about Vertigo. She used to do Vertigo.
Yep, she brought over Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore and Grant Morrison and all the greats, all my favorites.
She is responsible for some of the best comics in existence.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your opinion, but they're good.
Yep, she was the longtime editor.
The podcast
yeah, you're fired.
Out of the store.
Longtime editor.
You can't fire me. I don't work here.
Longtime editor at. She was Vertigo Comics for
absolutely
20 plus years. And then she was let go by DC. I don't remember exactly how it went down. I don't remember if she was let go or if she was going to be kind of pushed to the side, so she left.
Stepped down or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a
mutual. Yeah,
yeah, we're done. Because Vertigo has kind of really suffered in the last couple of years, which was unfortunate. She's actually back. She'd done a book with Image. She just kind of.
Surgeon X was that book.
Yeah, she just sort of independently edited a book for Image, but now she's actually signed with Dark Horse to have a line of comics called Berger Books that is going to be comic books as well as graphic novels that are going to be a standalone line, but published by Dark Horse Comics of her friends and new people she finds. Obviously, a lot of original graphic novels, but some traditional comic books as well. So this is great.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic talent, and my hope is that
she had a good run. I hope she has a lot of success in this new one too. I hope it turns around for her.
Well, I hope she has that eye. I hope she can find some new talent as well as getting some old talent kind of back into the business.
I think it's also a smart move by Dark Horse because they're bringing in a person that is really good at doing this. Has had a track record of
exactly.
doing this very
Not
well.
to mention has a name that means something, and it's funny because I think. The fact she left DC and everybody was talking about kind of helped the name night recognition even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. They my concern with Image at this point, because there's been a bit of a softening at Image. They've announced a lot of stuff at Image Expos. There's still a lot of stuff that hasn't actually come out. A lot of the people that worked at Image, though, it's kind of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe for Image it doesn't matter because they still make money when their books sell. But a lot of those guys have started to go to Hollywood. A lot of the books from Image, Hollywood took those people. Brubaker, obviously, has gone off and he's doing Westworld and he's involved in other stuff. He's still doing comics, but, not as much as he was. Where's Velvet? Where's the next issue of Velvet, Charlie?
I don't know, but as long as one issue keeps coming out a year, I can continue to add that.
Well, what's-his-face is Steve Epting's doing Batwoman. So you're not going to see any more of that for a while.
I just need one issue a year so it can keep being on my top list.
Yeah, Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue DeConnick are gone, basically. And, we had one issue with Sex Criminals. Yeah, I'll hold my breath for the next 2 or 3. Kelly Sue DeConnick, she's gone.
Well, what's
completely.
hilarious about Sex Criminals, it was delayed for so long
that
they had
year.
They had to do variant covers to get people to kind of have. Oh, look, we're back!
It's been like a year since the last issue came out. And
Polybagged in pink.
Yeah, so Fraction's gone. Kelly Sue DeConnick's gone. They've had other people that are just gone. Invincible's coming to an end. Saga numbers are dropping. Walking Dead, it's only one book, right? Walking Dead can't hold up the entire company. It does, but it...
Hey, Savage Dragon and Spawn are still selling strong.
Selling 5 copies a month of Savage Dragon. Jim's one of them. Every month.
She was selling me Spawn for a little while, too.
Yeah, when he was doing
when Eric Larson was doing the art, the interiors and stuff.
Yeah, my hope is that Karen Berger can kind of reflame some of that
I'd like
image.
to see Image turn it around.
But you said Dark Horse.
Oh, Dark Horse. I'm sorry, Dark Horse. Sorry.
But I'd still like to see Image.
I was going to say it would be impressive if she reflamed Image for Dark Horse.
Well, she could inadvertently, right?
Well, that's the thing is like Image. I'm surprised they didn't snatch her up because it's like
The Image doesn't have like little. I mean, they could have, I guess, but they don't really have imprints like that. Top Cow is.
Well, I mean, they
Top Cow and Skybound.
Basically gave Kirkman an imprint. So.
Yeah.
His is Skybound.
Yeah. I mean, they're still there.
There's still imprints of there, but I think Karen Berger, because that's the thing is you're bringing these people, these creative talents in. They're getting a lot of the money back. Image is just the publishing company, so they just get their cost plus a little bit extra. So these new creators are not being completely taken advantage of.
Yep.
And they're building something going forward. That, of course, Marvel and DC, you are on Bleeding Cool, aren't you?
Yes, fucking Bleeding Cool. I swear to God, if I'm gonna have to like, I've never seen something.
Rich Johnson. Shut off the automatic play ad bullshit.
Yeah.
Killing me.
All right?
Killing me.
God, it's like so. Like I'm sitting there listening to my music, and all of a sudden it's like, blah,
What
blah,
is this? Yeah,
what
yeah,
the fuck? Because the thing is if Hollywood's not gonna grab these people from Image, or even Berger's line of books, they're gonna be. I mean, Marvel and DC are gonna be snagging these people up. And the thing is DC is already doing their school stuff with the writers and the artists, which they had that new talent showcase thing that came out. So they're already kind of in the pipeline for that. Marvel needs some new blood over there just to bring some life back to something.
Smoke.
A big class called Draw the Marvel Way.
Well, I think Image. I think Image.
Bring those books back into print.
I mean, Image is good. They're way up from where they used to be. Right? They're still a huge force, but they've softened in the last year or so. And
agreed.
They kind of need a little more fresh talent there.
Yeah.
They publish some great books, but can only
Remender can't hold them,
Yeah. You can't just keep leaning on the same couple guys. You need some new people in there. And Marvel and DC. I mean, Dark Horse and Oni and every company needs this. There's a weird kind of split in the comic audience right now.
It's not a tipping point, but right now right now it seems like the really classic artists, they're getting older, and we haven't really got a whole bunch of new youngsters that people are jumping on right now.
Well, so they're there. They exist, right? There's a lot of new talent in comics. Yep. They just are not writing books that are going to appeal to the superhero crowd.
Not yet.
Or not ever. Or the, let's say, more classic alternative comic audience.
No.
Because these are people that are more internet focused, more Tumblr focused, more webcomic focused, less focused on your, whether it's First Comics or Comico or early Dark Horse.
Yeah.
This is not that audience. These are guys that grew up on Toonami and Adult Swim and the early 2000s manga, and that's
right.
their influence.
Right.
So they're not coming from the place where we, the five of us at this table, and a lot of the traditional superhero reading audience comes from. And so you have this clash of Rebirth versus what Marvel's trying to do versus Dark Horse being a sort of little more classic independent versus Image clearly having the best of the independent stuff. No question asked. Yeah. And then the wasteland that is the back half of previews where I look at that stuff and I'm like, I don't understand who is buying any of this. Like, what store is stocking 50 copies of any of these books? I mean, I guess you don't have to, because if every store, roughly 3,000 comic book stores, I guess if every store orders one copy of this various Oni book or one or two copies, there's your 6,000 copies, and that's what they sell on the charts. So, I mean, that's what's happening. No store is ordering 50 copies, right?
Well, it's just, I mean, I think that the back half wasteland that you call it, there's so much out there, and that by the time you get time you get there, you've gone through DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, IDW, Boom. Like, you've gone through all these studios that have a. In some case, Marvel almost has 100 fucking titles.
Well, we found previews number 12 in a collection from 1990.
Yes, we did.
You look at the back half of that previews versus the back half of previews today, it's night and day. It's night and day.
The back half of previews from today is the size of that whole previews from yesterday.
The size of that previews is like the toy section of today's preview. Like, it's not even close. All right.
I don't know. I always find it interesting when somebody comes in and they buy a book that I know you're not stocking anymore. I'm like, just so you know, if you want any more of that, you're going to have to get with Ryan, open up a...
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
Pre-order.
Well, the thing is there is a market for these books. I mean, there are people out there that enjoy this independent, this so far from the norm type of books.
Sure.
But again, I mean, it's why should you order it when who knows if that person is going to come back for number 2?
Yeah, no,
Or,
I order 1, I sell 5. I order 2, I order 5 of 2. I sell 0 copies of 2. I order 0 of 3 and never look back. That's the way it works.
Just
And,
enough for the
I mean-
subscribers on 2, 3, and going on.
Yeah. Which is 0.
I guess the way I look at it is sometimes we get somebody who will wander in and be like, do you have this? Do you have this? They're just looking for books that they either read about online or something they might actually buy if it was in a store, but they're not your normal customer who comes to the shop. You're not going to order something just in case somebody does stop into the shop.
Well, Charlie, we know this.
Yeah.
Here's 99% of how these conversations go. Do you have this? No, but we can get you a copy. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
It'll be here in 2 weeks.
So, Toby, you're back.
Hello?
We missed you.
Sure you did.
We have to have a big
did.
fight. It's time. It's time. It's been a few months. We have to have a big fight.
Yeah.
Tom King, notable comic book creator, one of my absolute favorites.
There we go.
One of my favorite writers of the modern day. Now legally an insane person. Posted this list on Twitter. Someone asked him who he thinks the most skilled Batman family fighter is, and if they could rank him. And he goes, okay, I'm going to take your bait. And he ranked the top 10 fighters. Now he said, this is not prep. This is not gadgets. This is hand-to-hand, one-on-one, no prep combat. Here is Tom King's list of the top 10 Batman family fighters, and a couple, and at least one surprise doesn't make the top 10.
When you say no gadgets, does that mean no like batons for Nightwing and
Hand to hand is what he said. He clarified that.
And this is Earth 1.
This is Earth 1, right? Normal universe. Number 10, Robin, Tim Drake, right? Normal Red Robin now, whatever he's called. Number 9, Stephanie, spoiler replacement Robin. Number 8, Duke. That's the newer Robin. What is he called? What's his name? I'm like totally blanking on what his like superhero name is. They call him Duke, like mostly, yeah. Number 7.
I don't think he has an actual.
Well, they
name.
call him.
they've
given
him a name. They just don't call him by it.
Okay.
most
Number
of the
7,
time.
Jason Todd, also known as Red Hood. Number 6, Helena Bertinelli, also known as Huntress. Number 5, Kate Kane. God, I totally blanked her name. Batwoman. Number 4, Damian Wayne, also known as Robin, little kid Robin. Number 3, Bruce Wayne, Batman. Number 2, Dick. Oh, so I'll call him Dick Ryder. I almost called him Rich Ryder. Dick Grayson. What are you looking at, Toby? Nightwing.
Yeah, we know what kind of
In the
dick
blue
you're thinking
and
about.
black. And then number 1, Cassandra Cain, also known as Batgirl, also known as Black Bat,
Batmite
also
didn't make the
known
list?
as Batmite would be number 1, also known as Orphan.
Orphan. Yeah.
Now, this list is mostly correct. I would move a few things around, but this list is mostly correct. But let's get the big thing out of the way. Tim Drake is not fucking number 10 on this list. Okay, no, Tim Drake is
put
not.
Huntress down at number 10 and Tim Drake up in her position.
No. Okay,
Huntress is better than Jason Todd?
let's start number 1 to 10. Let's go down.
All right.
Toby, me and you, we agree on this. Cassandra Cain, number 1.
Absolutely.
She is the best fighter. She is superhuman level of fighting.
Yeah.
She is the best, hands down.
If you actually read issue 950 of Detective, that story really kind of explains why.
Yeah, she is the best, no question. Now, you guys can jump in here if you agree, disagree.
Go ahead.
Or any-
Yeah.
Number 2,
I'll fight you if you don't agree.
it's Bruce Wayne. Number 2 is Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
See, I would have agreed 10 years ago. I don't agree anymore. There comes a time when the student outshines the master, and Dick Grayson's always been more
I don't think
athletic.
he's there yet.
No, I think he is.
He
I
is
think
more
he is.
athletic. He is faster. He is quicker.
Yeah.
He is not stronger. He cannot take Batman.
He's not refined enough. He's not
I think
surgical enough.
I think at this point I would put Dick above Bruce. At this point.
I would
20 years ago, no.
For me, 3. Again, we're talking.
It's just a switch.
I think Batman. Because I think Cassandra, she has a near superhuman level of strength and ability.
Detective 950.
And as I said, she's surgical. She's not. She's not going to waste a move. She's going to do.
Well, it doesn't matter. We can disagree. I'm just saying. At this point, I will put Dick up there.
I think
20 years ago, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I think Nightwing is he's too showy. That's who he is. He's a very. He won't go for the strike. He won't go for the kill. He won't go for that punch.
He won't break the leg to end the fight quickly.
He's not going to headbutt the guy in the face just to be like...
I really think Batman will use some moves that Dick Grayson will not.
10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would have agreed.
A bunch of headbutting and kicking people while they're on the ground.
So I think
you didn't get that reference?
I didn't hear it. So
fuck you, it's a bunch of headbutting
and I had to think about it. I honestly had to think about it when this list came out, and I was like, wait, to me it made sense.
Yeah.
If I made the list out of my own, and I probably would have put Bruce ahead, but I was like, the more I thought about it, I agree with that one.
Okay. Well, we're all pretty close here. We're gonna swap Dick and Bruce, but I think that's fine. Now, number 4. This is where the list kind of starts to fall apart for me. I think it's pretty close. I think we just have to shift a few. I'm actually going out on a limb here. I put Jason Todd at number 4. And
yes.
Yeah.
And my reasoning for this, and maybe you guys will agree with me, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He'll throw sand in your face.
He'll fight dirty.
He'll fight dirty. He'll stab you. He'll shoot you. He'll do whatever he has to.
No weapons.
Yeah.
No weapons.
But hand to hand, he's a dirty fighter.
Jason
Todd will dick punch you.
And Jason Todd doesn't know when to stay down.
Ass punch you.
Well, so in terms of sort of surgical, like Batman's only going to break your leg if he has to. He's not going to use more force than necessary.
Right.
Where Jason Todd
will do it if he has
just
the opportunity. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
So this is at this point, I think the list is fairly accurate. I would move a little bit more. I'd say Kate Kane. I mean, she's a terrific fighter. She's ex-military. I have no problem with her being one more down the list.
She is above Helena.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
above Tim.
No matter where Helena is, Kate is above her.
I'd say she's above Tim.
I think
Tim
you guys,
realized.
What do you think Tim is number 10?
Well, here's the thing: hand-to-hand
combat.
Where he can't use his staff.
There's a Stephanie on this list, right?
There's Duke on this list.
like to me, what it kind of comes down to, and this is part of it for even Nightwing to a degree. Tim Drake, when I think of the way he fights, I think of the staff. I think he has skills of hand-to-hand, but he's much stronger using the staff.
Okay.
So if you take away his staff, I don't think he can out hand-to-hand other people on the list.
I mean, if you
give them with their weapon of choice, the list would move completely around.
Yeah, it would be totally different.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Batman would be number 1 over every single one if you could use weapons.
Like everything, I'm going to go disagree with you there, too, because
holy
shit balls.
Because I believe Damian should stay there, because I feel like Damian is similar as Cassie, not as great as Cassie, so I believe Damian should stay in that spot.
So Bryce just came to the podcast. He's going to be our little guest here. He's going to join in here for a second. We have Tom King, writer of Batman's top 10 power list of hand-to-hand only, no weapons, no gadgets, no planning, ranked top to bottom. We agree with number 1, Cassandra Cain.
I agree as well.
Everyone except for Toby agrees with Batman should be number 2, Nightwing should be number 3.
I agree with that.
Split that list.
Guys, not Toby as well.
Okay.
Why is Bruce... Okay, keep going.
Number 4, we all put Jason Todd. He's a dirty fighter. He'll kick you in the balls. He'll throw sand in your face. He doesn't know when to stay down.
I guess I agree with that. I don't know. Why is Damian so high up there?
I think he's a good fighter, but he's not as good as some of these guys.
No, he's
similar Cassandra.
Isn't he 12 years old?
That's the point. That's why he's down further on the list, because he's so young. He has no strength.
The one problem I think that Damian has is strength.
Yeah,
I put him further down the list
because he hasn't gone through puberty yet.
Well, I think I put strength and anger also.
I think
he loses.
I know know a
Well,
10-year-old
there's
could
that,
whoop the
and-
fucking shit out of you right now. Right now. He's giving me a black toe. He could whoop the shit out of you right now, and he's 10.
So I put
on Toby's toe.
I put-
He's gonna
So-
kick your ass.
No, he
To me, the
Good.
difference with Damien is the fact that he has one set of instincts that he was trained by to use with the assassins and everything that he has to constantly kind of keep in check.
Yeah.
If he could go just pure on training, instincts, and all that, he'd probably be higher up the list. But that's not the Damien we have right now in the Bat family.
Yep.
So I put Kate Kane at number 5. I think she's correct. I think she has military training, right? We talked about that. That's Batwoman. I do put Helena Bertinelli.
I have Jason in number 5.
She grew up with a very religious family, bunch of boys in the family, but mafia. She knows how to fight. Again, dirty fighter, not on Jason's level, but dirty fighter. So again, if anyone agrees or disagrees, let me know on the rest of this list here. Number 7.
Well, we're already all way off because I have things in different places already.
Okay, well, I'll do my list. How about that? Then you do your list because I think we're the most different. 7, I put Damien. Great fighter. Not there yet talent-wise, not there yet power-wise. He's a really good fighter, but I think he's going to have a hard fight against these guys.
Wait, what number do you have him at?
I have him at 7.
7.
Okay, so you agree with... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yep, sorry, keep going. I'm going to get Toby's list.
At 8, I'm going to put Tim Drake. He's been Robin for a very long time.
Wow.
Not the best fighter, but he is a strong fighter.
He's a Robin.
He's right. Number 9, Barbara Gordon. She's not even on this list.
Yeah.
Barbara Gordon is number 9. Again, not the strongest fighter. She's more like Nightwing, but she doesn't have the talent. She doesn't have the raw talent. She doesn't have the history that he does. But she is a very good fighter at this point.
Well, she was raised by a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. At number 9, I put Duke. Duke's fine. Stephanie should be on this list. She's not a fighter at all. She's there's nothing wrong with this.
I don't even know Duke.
He's the new kid. He's been running around in the We Are Robin comic. He's
the backup
I mean,
and
He's got one part right. He's above Stephanie.
I would agree. I'll put Stephanie at 11. Again, nothing against Stephanie. She's not a fighter. She never has been. That's not why.
I'm fucking agreeing with you, man.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. This list, Tom King, you're kind of crazy. I love you, but
No, he's not fucking crazy.
Now, can we add other people to the list?
He just did.
if you want to, I mean,
He does that at Barbara Gordon.
No, because the question is, where would you put Catwoman?
she's not the Bat family, though.
Again, if she couldn't use her
she's
claws
probably
and
next.
stuff, she's not.
She's probably would be next on the list.
Sometimes she. Oh wait, no.
Catwoman would be higher on this list if she was on this list. Azrael, if he was just hand to hand, Jean-Paul Valley,
why is
he'd
Azrael
be on
here?
this list.
Why is Duke on here and not Azrael?
Yeah.
This current Bat
How long
family
has Duke
list?
been around? I only know him from the Tom King Batman.
Azrael's in it.
Yeah, 2 years.
Azrael's been in
2, 3 years.
Detective.
Yeah.
Azrael's been in Detective.
Yeah, but just a little bit. Yeah, Batwing, I wouldn't have him on the top 10.
I mean, how about Hush? He spent more time in the Bat family than Duke has.
You're right. Hush is not a fighter though. Not a hand-to-hand fighter. He's all about deception. He's all about.
Be Bruce Wayne. That doesn't mean
He's a faker, not a fighter.
Nice.
he's a faker.
So Toby, give me your list then, because I think me and you seem to be the most changed here.
Wait, what about Gotham Girl? She's part of the family now.
Oh, she's number 1 because she's fucking Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she just punches everyone in the face and kills them.
She's number 1 until she dies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which would probably be like 6th down the list because
My list is very similar to Tom King's.
Oh man.
Cassie number 1, Dick number 2, number 3 Bruce, and originally if I would have came up with this list myself, I probably would have put Bruce above 2.
Yeah.
I have Damien at number 4 just because I haven't been reading some of the newer stuff, but the way I remember Damien was more he's a complete asshole, vicious fighter, assassin guy, very similar to Cassie, just not trained as long.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why I would have him that high. Number 5, Jason, for the same exact reason, because he's a dirty guy. He doesn't give a shit, right? Number 6, I have Kate, military trained. Number 7, street trained Helena, right? Then I have Tim, because he is still trained.
I agree.
Yeah, and then Barbara. She's similar to Tim in ways. Both more smarter players in the Bat family, but not as physically strong. Then I have Duke, and then Steph.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty close.
Yeah.
I think only like 2. Like you just switch on Bruce and Dick and Damien and Jason.
Anyone else?
No, I mean,
No, I'm good with.
So he's not full of shit then. If we're pretty close.
Well, he's close, but he's still full of shit.
No, he's not.
There's some stuff here that he's.
Well, the Tim thing is a little weird.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone was like, Tim at number 10.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
No,
He might have done that. He might have done that just to stir the pot.
Well, no,
because Stephanie can't.
So
Charlie, go
we
ahead.
are living in Rebirth now, but that's still New 52,
Yep.
and
Did he
New
put
52
Tim?
Tim has not displayed they've highlighted his intelligence, they've highlighted his skill
if this was who's a better detective list,
Oh no, this is all different. Yeah. And he already came out with that after that. Barbara and Tim would be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, but my point basically is Tim Drake as he exists without the history.
yeah,
Do you think
has not been trained that long. Has not.
Right.
Do you think
refined
Tim is
the
number
skills
10
that
because
long.
he's jailed right now?
I was just going to
can't
say.
fight back.
I was going to say. You think Tim is in that position because he's captured?
Oh, I didn't see that he did a detective list because it would be like Tim would be number 1, Batgirl would be number 2, Batman would be number 3. Like,
you don't put Barbara up
You
there.
put Barbara
yeah,
over.
I'd put Barbara over Batman.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, depends what
I
kind
love-
of detective work.
yeah, because Bruce has a wider scope. Barbara has a more narrow scope.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Batman's just like, hey, computer, figure this out for me. Barbara knows how to hit the books.
But see, he puts
Tim
on
is
masks.
always-
But Bruce can hit the streets.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I'd still put her over.
But book smarts, I would go Tim and Barbara on the top too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't
oh, yeah.
his
Oh, fine.
comic literally say the world's greatest detective?
Used to.
I mean, that's canon. That's not fake news.
All right. So, Tom
nice.
King, thank you for your list. You're only slightly insane. We love you, though. You're the best. You're an awesome writer.
You're welcome to come to Comic Conspiracy Podcast and argue the fact.
Sadly, I think Steph will probably be at the end of the other list too.
I mean,
Sorry, Steph. I love Steph, but sadly, I think she's at the bottom of both lists.
Cassie would be able to figure something out before her.
Well,
Of course.
I'd put
Cassie's
Bluebird.
figured out how to speak without fucking being taught.
Yeah. What's her face? Bluebird. What's her name? Oh God, what's her
Oh,
name? I would put
Harper.
her Harper Row. I would put her lower. I mean, she doesn't have any training. Most of those We Are Robin guys, if you want to include them, I'd put them
they're
lower.
at the bottom too.
I find
Yeah.
it really weird the way they kind of went, Bluebird, everybody pay attention to Bluebird.
And then
then
gone.
gone.
Yeah, well,
and now
she-
we have Duke.
Yeah,
And I'm just waiting for a year from now to be like, gone.
Oh, Duke exists only in Scott Snyder's books, and nowhere else. Well, Bluebird was in Detective.
Yeah.
Oh, the character is still around, but
And-
she's already retired
she's quit.
from.
yeah, which is
Bluebird will
For
turn
the
into
best.
the new Dove.
for the best.
Wait, wasn't she on the cover with Nightwing?
Did they bring her back?
Yeah, it's Bloodhaven right there.
No, that's not Bluebird.
That's not how her.
No. That's what I. Some art thief chick in Nightwing. I can't remember her name. Yeah.
So what's next?
That's pretty much it. That's all the big topics, but we do have tons of questions as always. Let's hit a few of these up real quick. This is for me, Toby, and Bryce. Nothing.
Good thing Mr. Larsen is here.
Nothing to do with comic books, but
This is something to do with the Geek Box.
a little bit. The Wii U version of Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild has leaked online. So if you want to know nothing about the plot or anything about Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, don't go on the internet for 2 weeks because it sounds
Spoiler
like
alert, it was Ganon.
oh fuck, awful. All right, Eric asks: are you guys going to discuss Mel Gibson possibly directing Suicide Squad 2? No.
Why not? I don't think he's gonna, but
I
why
don't-
not?
yeah.
What would be wrong with it?
He's a very good director,
Exactly.
as I've been told.
Yeah.
I don't really watch his movies.
Yeah. So what's wrong?
But he's a very
What's wrong?
I mean, if he does half of the gore and stuff that he had in Passion of Christ, I mean, it's
he's a very controversial man.
Yeah.
And the last thing
And he's
DC,
blacklisted.
and the last thing DC needs is more controversy in their movies.
No, bring it on, man. I think you should just go deeper.
Bring in Roman Polanski to direct it or something.
Wow.
How about a German,
Brian Singer.
All right.
German guy? The German guy.
Roman
the guy.
Roman Polanski can
Uwe
direct
Boll?
Dead Man.
Yeah. Uwe Boll will do the Sirens movie.
Could direct what?
Dead Man or something like that.
Dude, if Roman Polanski directed Dead Man would be incredible. It actually would be incredible.
I know.
I don't want it to exist, but it
not
would
joking.
be incredible.
That'd be
yes,
great.
you do.
This is from Comic Boom on Twitter. He asks, for May, Secret Empire, all related tie-ins in comics for that month in May, 3 issues of Secret Empire plus miniseries and tie-ins, $55 for everything that month if you want. Did you order high? No, I actually order pretty sober because if I'm pretty high when I'm ordering, I'm going to order a lot of Marvel comics. No, because we actually haven't even got the solicitation info for the order. This is early solicitations went up today. We get previews next week, and then they're not due for another month after that. So, Secret Empire, though, I expect there will be some buzz. Maybe not quite Civil War too high.
Not according to your buddies over on the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
They did a little survey. It was a Big Bang Theory comics. They did a survey of, are you going to be picking up Secret Empire? And I think last I checked, 64% said no.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the same case here, but it's still, 64% of our customers didn't buy Civil War 2 either. It was still our best-selling Marvel comic, right?
I'm also not convinced that the answer would have been that different going into Rebirth.
Yeah,
just because there was a lot of...
There was hype, but there was also people were.
Yeah,
I'll wait for the trade.
Well, Rebirth at least had a decent amount of ads and a decent amount of buzz going into it. Secret Empire, it's
Spencer doesn't have the greatest track record right now. I am being 3 issues in the first month, no returnability. That is tough. I won't go crazy high because I don't want to get stuck with a bunch of copies. But with the free comic day book and the 0 issue beforehand. And they have said the 0 issue is not a recap; it is a complete story.
Oh wow!
Which I'll believe that when I see it, but I believe it's going to be a recap.
Wait, a recap of Cap?
Of Cap. It's all new material. It's just it's going to recap
of stuff, yeah.
Right, to get everyone set up.
This guy died. This person did this.
Yeah.
FYI, Cap's a Hydra agent.
He also asked about
our the road so far.
He also asked about a response to the Marvel's ComicsPro statements by David Gabriel, which we already
bullshit.
We already talked about that. Actually, multiple people asked me about that. So
you want Bryce's opinion on that?
We talked about this last night, Bryce, after we recorded the podcast, right? That Marvel blamed DC for their lack of success in the last quarter of 2016.
We did not talk about this last night.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we have time for this can of worms.
We'll talk about it.
I'm getting off my seat.
Real quick. DC blames
he can't
DC
do quick.
blames Marvel for their poor fourth quarter.
Yeah, very, very quick summary. Marvel had said, due to the DC Comics being $2.99, due to returnability from DC, the retailers had a bunch of money tied up in returns that hadn't processed yet. Retailers couldn't order enough Marvel comics to satisfy the customers that wanted them. That's why they overshipped. That's why they had poor sales.
Okay. I have no opinion. Is this true or not?
This is what they said. It's not. It's obviously not true. It's obviously bullshit. But this is what Marvel said at the ComicsPro meeting.
Marvel said, not what retailers said.
Yeah, it's what Marvel said.
They're speaking for retailers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, isn't it kind of his job to explain away problems?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
Blame another company for your downfalls?
Isn't that business? Isn't that literally business?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's not our fault.
I don't know, man.
It's your fault. This is from Grumble on Twitter. He says, doesn't it seem like a cheap ploy to cancel Power Man and Iron Fist just to launch a single Power Man and Iron Fist title? I wouldn't say a cheap ploy. I actually probably would have started that way. I would have done a Luke Cage and an Iron Fist. I would call it Luke Cage because that's the name of the Netflix show. And an Iron Fist series. But Power Man Iron Fist is a fun title. They will maybe get more sales out of 2 books, but I think they're fighting over scraps. I think they should just focus on having a good title. I don't think it's a cheap ploy. I think it's...
Is Rocket Raccoon and Groot still separate books going on?
Yeah, there's going to be...
Really?
The new Rocket that just came out. Well, there's no Groot comic right now.
Okay.
The Rocket Raccoon comic that just launched is ending at issue 5 to be replaced by a book called Rocket, which is the same name as one of the Milestone characters that DC is trying to resurrect as part of their whole Milestone line. It's a comic called Rocket. So people believe that Marvel is putting out a comic.
Is it a talking raccoon?
No. It's a girl. Groot is getting a Baby Groot series that launches along with the movie.
A Baby Groot series? That's adorable and unnecessary.
Is it by Scotty Young?
It's Marvel in a nutshell, right?
Is it by Scotty Young?
Adorable. No, I don't know. It's by
that's-
nobody's.
There should be a Scotty Young variant on that one.
No, it should just be Scotty Young doing the Baby Groot title.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
He also says we did a great job on the Geekbox, and it was also up Tuesday morning, which is madness.
It freaked him out.
Obviously, he was drunk
There you go, yeah.
when he wrote that.
Our good friend Casey,
Takes one to know one.
man of many tweets, says, I'm burnt out on comic book movies. Can you try your best to convince me to see Logan in theaters?
95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's what I was going to say.
It's rated R.
It's rated R, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Can't go wrong with that.
I read something today. I'm not going to put anything out there. I'm just going to say if anything I read today is in that movie, I can understand why I got 95%. And the synopsis. It's not Old Man Logan, but damn, I mean, if they go down this dark path, Bryce, you're really gonna like it.
I can't wait.
I promise.
I'm
promise.
there. Probably opening weekend.
They also showed
day.
that Wolverine Oranges only had like 37% Rotten Tomatoes. The Wolverine had like 67, and this one's 95. They're actually getting better, and now he wants to quit. That sucks.
So at this rate, the next one's going to be like 120%.
That will be Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
This is from Indigator on Twitter. He says, what am I missing in All-Star Batman? I love Snyder's Batman run, but I just canceled All-Star Batman from my pull list. For me, All-Star Batman is sort of Snyder can do whatever the hell he wants to do on it.
Yeah.
It's not connected to the rest of the world, so it's very open, it's very free form. It's sort of an experimental title for him.
I mean,
and John Romita Jr. did 5 issues, so that's another reason.
No, like the last issue with Poison Ivy was really good. I love the Mr. Freeze issue was really good.
Yeah, I haven't read the Poison Ivy one, but I read the Mr. Freeze issue. That was good.
You know, I think that initial...
It's very, like I said, very experimental.
Yeah, and the thing is like, I think that the issue, the John Romita Jr. drawn stuff with Two-Face, it was a good story, but again, I think that it's really, really difficult to read like a book that's drawn by him. And it takes away so much from the actual story.
Yeah.
But going into Mr. Freeze and the Poison Ivy issues, I was like, holy crap, these are just phenomenally good issues.
The Poison Ivy issue was in some ways a sequel to the Poison Ivy series. Like, it does mention some of the events from the Poison Ivy series. So anybody who really liked the Poison Ivy series, just picking up the one issue of All-Star
Cycle of Life and Death is what that's called.
But no, I think the Two-Face one required a lot of sort of suspension of disbelief because a lot of it wasn't really making sense.
Yeah.
But since they've wrapped up that one, I kind of feel like it fits again.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
I like it. It's just not its own thing. Or, I'm sorry, it is its own thing. It's not really connected. It's from Ray on Twitter. He says, when I read that... Oh, yeah, by the way, Jason Aaron and Chris Pachalo are leaving Doctor Strange as of May.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah,
Too? Oh,
yeah,
I
they're
didn't
both
know
off.
Aaron
Yeah,
was
they're both off. Yeah.
Brutal. Do we know who's
Being replaced
replacing
by
him?
Dennis Hopeless.
He's no Jason Aaron, but he's not bad.
He was bummed and then thought, hey, I can add another DC book. That's the way.
You bastard.
It's from Keith. Oh, and this is actually something we didn't talk about. He says he's asking about Maximus. They cast Maximus today for the Inhumans TV show.
Is that official?
Yeah, apparently.
That fucking casting is so
seriously?
good.
They cast...
Yeah. Yeah, that was,
I never know how to pronounce people's names. Iwan Rion, who is Ramsey Bolton, was gonna do the little sausage waggle. Ramsey Bolton in Game of Thrones is gonna play Maximus, who is the
he's the insane brother of Black.
He is his brother.
Black Bolt.
Yeah.
He's
Okay,
the brother.
I wasn't sure if he was his brother or like half brother or
No,
something.
he's
But
his brother.
He's Black Bolt's brother from the Inhumans.
He's not adopted like Loki. He's
He's
the
the
real
one that
brother.
talks way too much.
Now, I'll tell you this. Marvel may try to force too much comedy into their movies and TV shows, but boy, can they cast. Boy, can they cast these people. Ramsey Bolton as Maximus is awesome. That is fantastic casting. Very excited for this. But he says, what is your Game of Thrones-inspired Inhumans casting?
Oh wow!
And I mean, they write themselves, right? Sean Bean as Black Bolt, right? Cersei as Medusa. I mean, these characters are could be one-to-one.
Sean Bean.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
He's a little bit older,
see
but
it.
sure.
No.
I don't.
As Black Bolt, King Black Bolt.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's no.
Who do you like, Jon Snow?
Stoic, honorable man.
Yeah.
I see that.
I understand, but
I don't get the look.
Too
The
old.
look
Yeah,
isn't
he's
the-
not there.
So, do you want Jon Snow? You want him as
Yeah.
For Medusa,
As
I
Black
want
Bolt?
Sansa Stark in 20 years.
Well, sure, right. That's the problem. The kids are too young, and the adults are maybe a little.
By the
too
time
old,
they get
but-
around to the movie, then
they'll be the right age.
Can we go back to the casting call?
Yeah,
He's been in a really cool show called The Misfits. Which
that's
is very
the
X-Men like.
The X-Men. Yeah, the BBC
It's
show,
very,
right?
very, very X-Men like,
Yeah.
and I highly recommend that show.
Yeah.
He is really good. In
I heard that
show,
was really
too.
good.
Yeah.
The first few seasons were very good. The later few seasons.
The later few seasons, I
God,
didn't even know they existed
yeah.
for a long time.
That bad?
It got pretty bad. Basically, it's one of those shows that slowly kind of worked out characters out of the show.
Yeah.
So by the time you got to the final season or the final 2 seasons, the cast was completely different,
It's not
and
even the same show anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it got
the
really bad.
First 2 seasons, I highly, highly recommend.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff in there.
Oh god, here's where I start forgetting everyone's name in Game of Thrones.
Dude, Jaime Lannister is Black Bolt. He'd be way better than Ned Stark.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I could
yes.
see that. He's a bit younger. What's the guy that gets his head crushed in the
the Viper.
in the Viper?
Viper?
He needs to play Karnak.
Karnak, yeah.
Oh, the mountain as Gorgon.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'll done with that.
Jason Momoa is Triton. The Fishman.
Oh yeah. Aquaman.
No.
Okay.
No, you can't have Jason Momoa. He's already Aquaman.
No, dude. That's why. That was my
Yeah,
tongue in cheek.
yeah.
How about Hodor as? Did you already say Gorgon? You already said
You
Gorgon.
said Gorgon. Yeah, no, yeah.
I did go.
Gorgon.
Yeah, I said the mountain.
The mountain
Gorgon.
as Gorgon.
If they didn't cast that perfect casting, I would have put Peter Baelish as Mad Max.
Maximus.
He would be a good Max.
Yeah, Baelish would probably
man.
be better.
Scheming little
He's
weasel.
a little bit. The thing is,
Yeah.
it's the problem. He's a little too old.
Yeah, he's a little too old. Any of the
Toby, did you hear Toby?
No.
Hodor could be Lockjaw.
No, I was gonna say any of the dire wolves could be Lockjaw. Right?
Yeah, but Hodor would be so much greater.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Lockjaw can actually talk.
Well, Hodor can.
Hodor can kind of talk. He can say some words. All right.
Oh God! And Samuel Tarly can be any Inhuman that dies.
Who's Crystal? Which one?
Oh, Crystal's totally Sansa.
No.
I was gonna say
Medusa's Sansa.
The wildling, Ingrid.
Oh, okay. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I like that. Yeah. No. Sansa's.
Sansa's got to be Medusa.
No. Medusa's. What's her name? I just said it earlier, and I forget her name.
We can play
Cersei?
casting calls all
Cersei,
day, man.
yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah. No, Medusa's Cersei. Totally Cersei. I mean, regardless.
No, I disagree.
No. Come on. She's very cold. She's very in charge. She's
Wait.
Very conniving.
Wait. Let's put the Lannisters
Wait,
back
what's
together
Cersei's
again. Okay,
first?
I'll go with that.
Cersei is Medusa. Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I want
Jamie Lannister is Black Bolt.
The
Yeah, I
Cersei
see
in
that.
the green.
No, Cersei. No. Cersei.
Queen. She's the queen.
Queen Cersei.
Cersei in Game of Thrones is
not
Medusa
my
in
West Coast
Inhumans.
Avengers.
Not
No,
not the Inhuman Cersei.
Human Cersei is the best.
Can we have Daenerys be Crystal, even
Yeah.
though she doesn't fit just because I want her in the show?
Yeah, we'll do that. We can do that.
Oh, and what about Brienne of Tarth? She's got to be in there somewhere.
Is there a really strong?
There's 1,000 now. They just tripled the size of the
Inhuman
Inhumans
woman?
cast.
Is Bertha Inhuman?
Who's Miss Marvel? None, because
Who's Quicksilver then? She marries. Chris.
Well, he's not an Inhuman, but
if he's
But he's
not
in the
Inhuman.
Inhuman. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we're
For
done.
Quicksilver, it's the faceless guy.
We've
yeah,
gone
we've
too far
exhausted.
into the topic.
Yep.
Eric says, will there be a Marvel series that goes more than 50 issues again? Probably Star Wars. but that'll be it.
Yeah, I know
It'll cancel on 49.
I know a book. The next Gambit miniseries is coming out.
There you go. There you go.
But haven't we talked about how they just don't need to anymore? The business model has changed. They now restart with number ones. Like, it's not that they couldn't go 50. It's just that they get
should.
better sales with the way that they think they are.
They think they do.
They blame DC for not getting better sales than they think they will.
Yeah.
All right, this is for the back half of the table here. Christopher asks, I just bought all of Age of Apocalypse on a whim.
Oh, good man.
Wait.
Yeah.
The original Age of Apocalypse or the freaking Secret War?
Good man.
The entire series.
All right, cool.
But I don't really read X-Men.
What? Batman. Batman.
How confused will I be?
Actually, not
No,
at all.
it's a very exactly, not at all.
You will be really confused when you start reading the X-Men at that point.
Exactly. It's a self-contained story. It's a really good self-contained story, and then they leave the universe at the end. Spoiler alert. To come back to quote unquote reality. So, but it's a great self-contained story. You won't it's a great superhero story. There's not much in the way of character development.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much that you'll be confused. You'll just miss some of the little nods and stuff to how things are different.
He's going to go into a local comic book shop. I'm like, why does Cyclops have actual 2 eyes?
He's going to think Sugar Man's a real character after reading this. All right,
Generation Next number 2, first person Sugar Man.
This is from Brad.
It's up on your wall now.
Yeah. This is from Brad. This is from Brad. Sorry, Brad.
Bad Brad.
Bad Brad. This is a great question.
I'm still thinking about Sugar Man. That's why he's all flustered.
And I have an answer for this. He says I've never understood the DC versus Marvel thing. The only place I hear it is on your podcast.
Have you gone to
Has he stepped out into the world?
Liking one doesn't mean hating the other. Now, that's totally true. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Because I love both.
Have you ever talked to another comic book fan in your life, gone on a forum, gone into a comic book store,
Comic book convention.
or comic convention or anything,
Or have
like,
anything signed by Jason Momoa.
Marvel vs. DC is like at the core of comic books. On everyone's soul, we answer the question first: Marvel or DC. Like that is just
There was even the comic event, Marvel vs. DC.
Yeah. I'm kind of joking, but no,
you're not joking.
But I'm not joking. This is Marvel versus. Okay,
Even they are playing into it. Marvel is calling DC the skinniest competition.
here's the thing. Oh, they've always called them that.
Yeah.
They've always called them that.
But,
Yeah,
they play into it too.
Yeah, Marvel and DC, company to company, is always a friendly rival, like most sports teams, like most things.
Sometimes
Mostly
not so friendly.
Sometimes not so friendly, but that's more personality wise. Us in the podcast, we are all fans of both. People clearly think that there's a DC bias with certain members of the podcast.
Yeah.
But I won't name any names. Ryan Higgins.
Well, yeah, what do you mean seem to think there's a DC bias? You are on record for having a DC bias.
But I think if you talk to, again, 99% of comic fans, they like Marvel and DC.
But this is the thing. You have a bias towards DC, Ryan, but your favorite characters are from Marvel.
A lot of my favorite characters are from Marvel, yeah. But there are some people that are like, Marvel is absolute trash or DC is absolute trash. And I disagree with a lot of what Marvel does, but I love Marvel comics.
I've never said they're absolute trash. I said they're putting out absolute trash.
Exactly.
I didn't say they're absolute trash.
No, and again,
people out there that do say that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Most people don't. Most people like both companies, but there is always that rivalry.
And to me, what it really kind of comes down to is moments in time. There are moments in time when DC is horrible and Marvel's great, and there's
Agreed.
moments in time where Marvel's horrible and DC's great.
Some people like Iron Man 3. Some people like Green Lantern. Yeah, I mean, you just got to pick and choose.
Well, that's no choice to any sane person.
Yeah, I know. Green Lantern. Jeez, Iron Man. Fucking
No, the same
Nah.
person would pick neither because they're both shit.
No.
Some people will choose both.
So the rare,
people are-
so attempting to talk less politics, but I'll very briefly,
God.
no relation to anything, no actual politic talks. But I read the absolute greatest insult ever today, and that was Milo yada yada yada. What's his face? The guy that got his book banned and all that stuff.
Yeah, Beer Bart.
Yeah. Breitbart guy. Yeah.
Bart.
There was an article. I think it was on Huffington Post. Wow, or I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was HuffPo.
Quote right.
They compared him to the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3, saying that he's an actor, that he doesn't actually believe anything he says, that he's a villain just to get paid. And I'm like, that is the greatest insult I have ever read in my entire life. Comparing him to that.
He's not going to get this insult at all.
What's that?
Trump is not going to get this insult at all.
No, not Trump. No, not Trump. Not Trump.
It's Milo.
I can never pronounce the guy's last name.
Milo.
Sure. You look him up online. He's a scumbag.
The guy in This Is Just Us?
Huh?
Milo?
No.
No, the one who created all the...
The guy from This Is Us? No, we're talking about like a real politician.
He's not a politician.
Sorry, journalist.
A real journalist.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Air quotes around that.
Maybe was.
Was a journalist of some form at one point, but not anymore.
Anyway, I hope the person asking this question understands that really we like both.
Yeah.
And that...
Except we all know DC is better than Marvel. So.
Well, not according to any actual measurable stat.
Right now, DC is better.
Bryce didn't get the correction.
Oh, we talked about that. Oh, that's what we talked about last night, the sales chart stuff. He can listen to the first half of this podcast.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, that's it. That's the podcast, guys. Thank you very much for being on. It's a crazy, crazy podcast. We have to thank all our great friends here from Patreon. Goodbye, Bryce.
Bye, Bryce.
Soccer.
Oh, yeah. Bye.
See ya.
We have to thank our good friend Albert Soy. Albert, me and you, baby, and our significant
No,
others.
it's me and you
and
going to
other people.
Nintendo Fink. Don't fucking change your shit on me.
No. We're gonna go to the 21 Royal Street. We're gonna go to the $15,000 Disneyland dining thing.
What?
It's like 12 people, $15,000. You rent out a private room in the
Oh,
Dream
fuck
Suite
that. You own your own for that
seven
shit.
seven course meal, handmade by their like 5-star #1 chef.
Handmade by Goofy.
I can't wait. So we're gonna have a big.
Hold on. Just so
You and
everyone,
him? No Leanne?
No, I said and our significant others as well.
Just
Okay.
so everyone knows, while Ryan was talking about that, he was actually salivating.
No, I was thinking about how I'm gonna have a sale to pay for this thing.
this is true.
But me and Albert are gonna go. We're going, Albert. We're going.
Can you
Wait, is
actually
this that
call it my
Club 23
Disneyland
thing?
trip sale?
It's like Club 33, the next level.
What?
It's like
So you never achieved to go into that club. You're just going beyond
I already
it?
went to Club 33. Now
did?
we have to go to 21 Royal Street.
What the fuck?
He's been to Club 33 a couple times
No,
now.
only once.
Well,
Only
once.
once. Only once.
Keep going.
Julian Titus has
As long as you don't fuck up my Nintendo date with you.
No, that's fine.
All right,
that's fine.
good.
That's fine. Nerds Without Pants podcast at
No
pixelbit.com. And we may be getting some no pants in the store here, if
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking
We're not
about.
allowed to wear pants that day. We
Maybe-
have to
maybe-
welcome the outsiders with no pants.
Wow.
Maybe
I don't think
all
you're gonna have a
pantsless.
live audience on that day. I promise you on that.
Maybe y'all pantsless in a couple weeks. Well,
Yeah.
you hear about that soon. Our good friend Ryan Hess, he has the Preach Podcast at soundcloud.com/Preach Podcast. I know he's ready for the Switch. Jody Lawson is canon, the Triads Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Also, all our good friends, Manoa Place, Sam Che, Talon Bray, and Craig Anderson. Thank you guys all very, very much for your monthly donations to us on patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy, whereas for as little as $1 a month, you can get all sorts of cool mentions on here, and we'll send you some comics if you give us a bunch of money. And
Did you send
and
Julian
just
his?
Q&A. No, in fact, if he's coming here, I'll just give it to him here.
true.
Save some shipping. Go to ComicsPiracyPodcast.com, Geekbox.net, and on iTunes, where you can find this podcast and all our previous episodes, rate and review as well.
Or listen to the last week's episode of The Geek Box.
Oh, yes, we did the Geek Box this week, episode 410, with myself, Toby, and Bryce.
You remember what
Comic
episode the Geek Box
Conspiracy
is, but you don't
takeover.
remember our episodes?
Yes.
You beat me to it. I was going to.
I remember now that I've said it, but I don't remember previous to doing it.
You just remember the previous
You need to
number
write
and
it
then
down on
add
this-
one.
Write it down on
Right
a
on a
sticky
big
note
piece
and
of
put it right.
paper.
Yeah, exactly. Hold it
Right
up.
on my forehead. Just
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That's where you can go buy all your digital comic books.
Isn't there a really good sale right now?
There's always really good sales. If you would like to pre-order, we have a couple things up right now on our site at comicsconspiracy.biz, including the Image Comics Women's History Month variant cover set. And for a lot of people, we've got a lot of orders on this one already. The Batman Flash button, the crossover, the 4-issue crossover event. We have two options. If you want the 4 lenticular covers,
Don't forget me.
that's plotted by Jeff Johns, written by Tom King and Joshua Williamson, with art by Bryven Rice. Who's drawing that?
Bryven Rice?
Bryven Rice.
I
the
do not
Facebook's
know.
doing the covers, isn't it?
Is Fabric doing it? Oh, maybe Fabric's doing it. Sorry, Fabric's doing it. Yeah, just a Fabric. Awesome
Can't
artist.
wait. Cannot wait.
4 issues, 4 lenticular covers. You can pre-order that for either in-store pickup or mail order. If you want the special set that has all 12 covers, all 4 lenticular, all 4 standard variants, and all 4 international variants, because the smiley face button is copywritten over in the UK. So they have to do something different. So 3 covers each, 4 issues, 12 comics. You can pre-order all that at comicsconspiracy.biz. We'll ship that, I think it's like early May. When that finishes up. ConspiratorBrock.com, that's Brock's blog and video pull list. You just did an unboxing video for Katana.
Yeah, the Katana bombshell statue looks amazing.
Go check that out.
Yeah.
Wanderers of the Fourth Dimension podcast, that's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. They were just at Gallifrey 1.
Absolutely, we were. And we did record a segment on it that will be going with the episode this Thursday.
Fantastic.
Which is also the 5 Doctors.
Nice.
Wait, that's the one in LA. You actually went.
Yeah.
Oh, very sweet. You've been talking about that one for a while.
Yep.
Yes.
Worth it? I know you were maybe... Yes?
It was very worth it.
Okay.
And very surreal when Paul McGann was sitting next to me at dinner.
Nice.
What?
That's awesome.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. I got some stories I need to
Why
hear.
is there no picture on
When there's
social
Rose
media?
Tyler showing up, I'm coming with you.
Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. That is my wife,
Martha
Leanne.
Jones.
You can buy some prints from her as well as commissions. We're all on Twitter. Ryan Higgins, Ryan. Brock Sager. Larsen Bryce. That's Bryce Larsen. Toby XI. That's Toby. Insanity and Chaos. That is Charlie. ComicsCon store. That is the store. LD Exterminator. That is
Jimmy.
Jim over here if you want to add him. The Geekbox Comedy Button. Good job, Ryan.
You only get like Sugarman posts out of him, though.
All Talk Podcasts and Maga Machinations. Those are other podcasts in the little network. Please give them all a listen. If you were in San Francisco this Saturday for the 7 p.m. Switch event, myself and Toby will be there if you want to come find us and say hi. I know a bunch of people, a couple of people I know are going to the event this weekend. I don't know if it's the same time, but if you're there at the same time, come find us. Toby will be the one with like 9 GoPros.
Yeah.
Swinging.
And Ryan would be the one yelling at Toby, going, "Let me fucking play the game!" I'm like, "No, I'm milking the cows. Leave me alone."
Toby's really excited to milk those cows.
The cow milking game, man.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're on Etsy, I'm gonna pimp my sister. If you like some animals attacking human prints, you should definitely go check out, Anita Monster on Etsy, since you always pimp your wife.
Anita Monster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Animals attacking humans?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. The other way I don't like, but that way is fine.
Yeah, it's animal activist stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
There you
very interesting art.
Everyone still needs to send ideas for the episode 300 to Ryan.
No, we should just
we're not gonna
fucking
wear-
do our own shit.
On episode 300, we're not going to wear any pants. We already discussed
God.
this. This is what's
Oh, is that
happening.
when he's coming?
It just happens.
No
today.
pants day.
Man,
I'm wearing
That's
pants.
a hashtag already.
300 days of no pants.
That's a lot of
Can you get pants that make it look like you're not wearing
I'm going to
pants?
close my eyes when I just listen to the podcast.
It's not no underwear day. It's just no pants day. Okay, so that's fine.
I know. I just.
But what if you don't
Hey,
wear
that's still
underwear?
kind of nice. You just still don't want to see
too
that.
close?
There
I don't
are
wanna-
things called shorts.
This is true.
No shorts day.
I'm gonna come in my PJs. I got a good amount of those.
That's fine.
The one with
Hey,
the little feet.
Connor's getting to the age where I could hand him some of my PJs that I've never worn.
one
I got some Morio ones he might like.
Toby, the ones with the little feet on the bottom.
Toby small.
Hey,
No, I never worn them. I never worn them.
Hey.